There comes a moment, a quiet, almost invisible moment, when everything changes. Not outside, not in the world around you, but deep inside you. A silent shift, a realization, a spark that most people ignore, but a few decide to follow. And in that moment, you begin to understand something powerful, something life-changing. That your life is not controlled by circumstances, not by luck, not by where you were born, not by what happened to you. It is controlled by you. And that truth doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't shake the ground beneath your feet or announce itself with certainty. It whispers. It waits. It lingers in the background of your thoughts until one day, you listen. And the moment you truly listen, the moment you allow that idea to settle into your bones, everything begins to shift in ways you can't fully explain yet, but you can feel. And that feeling, that subtle awareness, begins to grow. At first, it's small, almost fragile, like something that could disappear if you don't pay attention to it. But the more you notice it, the more you sit with it, the more it expands. It starts to influence the way you think, the way you see the world, the way you interpret your past and imagine your future. You begin to question things you once accepted without hesitation. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw limits. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to step into a different version of yourself. Right now, wherever you are, whatever you've been through, whatever pain, failure, doubt, or struggle you carry, this is your turning point. Not later, not someday, not when things are perfect, right now. Because the greatest power you have, the one thing no one can take away from you, is the power to decide. And most people underestimate this. They think decisions are small, casual, temporary things. But a real decision, a true decision, is a line drawn in your soul. It's not just a thought, it's a commitment. It's when something inside you locks in place and says, "This is who I am now." No more negotiation. No more hesitation. And when that decision is made, something deeper happens. Your focus sharpens. Your energy shifts. The distractions that once pulled you in every direction begin to lose their grip. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop justifying your inaction. You stop waiting for permission. Because you realize you never needed permission in the first place. You only needed clarity. And now, you have it. A real decision is not just words, it's not something you say lightly, it's not "I'll try" or "maybe I will." A real decision is something you feel in your bones, something that shakes you, something that wakes you up from the inside. It's when something within you refuses to stay silent any longer, rises up with intensity, draws a line in the sand, and you say, "No more." No more excuses, no more blaming the past, no more waiting for the perfect time, no more shrinking, no more hiding, no more settling for less than what you know deep inside you are capable of becoming. And that "no more," that moment of absolute certainty, becomes your foundation. Because from that point forward, you're not just wishing for change, you are creating it. Every thought becomes more intentional. Every action becomes more aligned. Every step you take carries purpose. Even when it's small, even when it feels insignificant, you know it matters. Because you're no longer drifting. You're directing. Because deep down, you already know the truth. You were not born to live an average life. You were not meant to simply exist, to wake up, go through the same routine, and repeat the same patterns day after day like a loop you can't escape. You were not designed to doubt yourself, to question your worth, to live under the weight of fear and limitation. There is something inside you, something powerful, something raw, something limitless, but somewhere along the way, it got buried. Not destroyed. Not gone forever. Just buried. Buried under moments of rejection. Buried under words that stayed with you longer than they should have. Buried under failures that made you question your ability. Buried under expectations that were never truly yours. Layer after layer, experience after experience, belief after belief, until that powerful part of you became quiet. But quiet is not the same as gone. And the truth is, it's still there. Waiting. Watching. Ready. The most dangerous part is not that those limiting voices existed. It's that over time, you started believing them. You started accepting those limitations as reality. You started shrinking your dreams to fit the version of yourself you thought you had to be. You convinced yourself that maybe this is all there is for you. Maybe this is your limit. Maybe this is your story. But what if it's not? What if the story you've been telling yourself is incomplete? What if the version of you that you've accepted is only a fraction of who you actually are? What if everything you believe about your limits is based on moments when you were at your weakest, not your strongest? Today, everything changes. Because today, you question that story. Today, you interrupt that pattern. Today, you realize that just because something has been a certain way, doesn't mean it has to stay that way. Today, you take that power back. You reclaim control over your thoughts, your actions, your direction, your future. Because everything in your life, your success, your happiness, your confidence, your growth, comes down to one thing, your beliefs. What you believe about yourself determines how you show up every single day. What you believe is possible determines what you attempt. What you believe you deserve determines what you accept from the world and from yourself. And most people never question their beliefs. They inherit them. They absorb them. They carry them without ever asking, is this even true? But beliefs are not facts. They are stories. Stories repeated so many times that they begin to feel real. Stories reinforced by emotion, by memory, by repetition. And if a belief can be created, it can be changed. It can be broken. It can be replaced. Which means the limits you feel are not permanent. The doubts you carry are not permanent. The identity you've been living in is not permanent. You are not fixed. You are not stuck. You are not finished. You are in progress. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to question every belief that has ever held you back. Every I can't, every I'm not good enough, every this is too hard, every people like me don't succeed. You have the power to challenge it, to reject it, to rewrite it. And yes, at first, it will feel uncomfortable. It will feel unnatural. Because your mind is used to the old patterns. It's used to the familiar, even if the familiar is limiting. But growth always feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Change always feels unfamiliar before it becomes your new normal. And it starts with a question. What if I'm capable of more than I ever imagined? What if the limits I've accepted are not real? What if fear is not a barrier, but a signal? A signal that I'm stepping into something bigger. Something unfamiliar. Something that matters. Because your mind is powerful, but your state, your energy, your emotion, that's what drives your actions. If you feel weak, you hesitate. If you feel tired, you stop. If you feel uncertain, you pull back. But if you feel strong, focused, certain, you move differently. And here's the truth, your state is not fixed. It's not something that just happens to you. It's something you can influence. Something you can control. something you can train. Change your body, and you change your state. Change your focus, and you change your direction. Change your breathing, and you change your energy. Stand up straighter. Breathe deeper. Move with intention. Look forward instead of down. These are small shifts, but they create powerful changes. Because when your physiology changes, your psychology follows. And when your state changes, your actions change. And when your actions change, your life changes. Most people wait. They wait to feel motivated. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment doesn't exist. Motivation doesn't come first, action does. Action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence reinforces identity. You don't wait to feel strong, you act strong. You don't wait to feel confident, you act confident. You don't wait to feel ready, you move anyway. And as you move, something begins to shift. At first, it's slow, almost invisible. But then it builds. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to respect yourself more. Because every time you do what you said you would do, you prove something to yourself. I am reliable. I am capable. I am disciplined. Identity is not something you are born with, it's something you build. Every action you take sends a message to your brain, this is who I am. Every time you push through resistance, you grow. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you evolve. Every time you refuse to quit, you transform. But here's where most people fall short. They don't fully commit. They hesitate. They hold back. They go halfway. And halfway effort leads to halfway results. And halfway results never create real transformation. If you truly want to change your life, you must go all in. Completely. Relentlessly. Without negotiation. No excuses. No backup plans. No second guessing. Just a clear, unshakable decision, I will make this work. Because when quitting is no longer an option, your mind finds a way. It adapts. It learns. It becomes resourceful. It pushes past limits you once believed were permanent. And that's how transformation happens. Not slowly. Not casually. But in a moment of certainty where you decide, enough is enough. I am done living small. I am done being controlled by fear. I am done repeating the same patterns. In that moment, you become someone new. And once you become that person, your life begins to change. Because success is not something you chase. It's something you become. It's something you embody. It's something you live every single day. And it's built daily. In small decisions. In unseen habits. In quiet discipline. In moments where it would be easier to quit, but you don't. Because you've decided your future matters more than your comfort. Your growth matters more than your fear. Your purpose matters more than your excuses. And when you live like that, consistently, you become unstoppable. So decide now. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now. Decide who you are. Decide what you stand for. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Decide what you will commit to, no matter what. Because your life does not change by chance. It changes by choice. And this is your moment.